with a WWE star seemingly set for a mega push and more. This is Wrestling Hub. My name is John and you're watching the Wrestling Report. Before we get into the rest of the video, make sure you subscribe to Wrestling Hub and turn on all notifications to stay up to date with everything in the world of pro wrestling. Also, don't forget to follow us on Instagram at Wrestling Hub Official and follow us on Twitter at Wrestling_Hub. Speaking about the passing of Bray Wyatt and attending his funeral, Matt Hardy said on his Extreme Life podcast, "We got up and we ended up going to the service. I'm so happy we're able to make it. It was postponed because of the hurricane stuff a little later, but I was really happy we got to make it, and man, it was tough. It was sad, it was strange, it was weird. My heart is shattered for his family. Some of them spoke and I can't imagine the grief that they're going through. It's just so hard to understand how someone 36 years old dies, someone that you know and who you assumed was very healthy. It's just so hard to understand. I feel like it would be easier if it was more understandable in some ways. He leaves behind 4 kids, 2 very young, which is just heartbreaking as well, especially having 4 kids myself. I just can't even imagine, because the younger ones, I'm sure they don't comprehend it and how they're going to be affected by it as they get older. All of that is just so heartbreaking. One of the weirdest things is that there were several AEW guys that attended the service, but just like almost the whole WWE was there, and it was so crazy to see everybody, like this gathering, and to get everybody in one room and to like exchange pleasantries with everybody. It's just so sad that we were like reunited, everybody in the circumstances. It was very weird, but it was an important moment to let him know, as not only my friend but someone I worked with and my tag team partner, someone I really liked a lot, someone I had lots and lots of love for, to be there and let him know I was there for his ceremony, that when he passed away, and just to honor him and celebrate his life. That's what it was all about today. There was a massive turnout for this, which really speaks volumes about Wyndham's character and how much he was loved. So yeah, it was nice. It's just unfortunate that it was those circumstances. Also, a big shout out to Tony Khan. He took care of everybody really good. He sent a jet down there and carried all of the AEW talents up to TV in Indianapolis, and I was very grateful for that and definitely appreciated him. Once again, just showing how good-hearted of a human being he is. He really made it work out so that everyone that wanted to attend could attend. Revealing the backstage reaction to the Intercontinental title match between Gunther and Chad Gable, Cody Rhodes said on the Dale Jr. Download show, "If you get a standing ovation in Gorilla, you've made it. Last night, Chad Gable and Gunther had this amazing main event, and they came back and there's nothing we can do but clap for that piece of business." Saying this about a potential return to WWE for CM Punk following his AEW termination, Ryback said on his podcast, "This is why CM Punk is not going back to WWE. Number 1, nobody likes him. From the boys in the locker room to the office personnel, absolutely despised. Number 2, he's a pathological liar. I've seen it time and time again, and now we're starting to hear about it more and more, and finally everybody's starting to see it. Number 3, he's not the draw that everybody wants to try to say that he is. He never was and he never will be. Sure, he can get a spike here or there, but long term he is incapable of improving ratings. Number 4, he's fragile. He's just not it. Number 5, his ego is out of control. He will not come back and fall in line and be another spoke in the wheel of WWE. Number 6, did I mention nobody likes him? Number 7, he's partially responsible for the downfall of pro wrestling ratings, because casual people look at Phillip Brooks and they just go, that's not it. Number 8, he failed horribly at UFC. He wanted to talk the talk and walk the walk. He thinks he's a 290-pound machine like the big guy Ryback, but the truth is that he's a skinny fat little boy trying to play in a man's world, and it just doesn't cut it. Casuals look at it and they know that he's not the real deal." As it's been reported that Drew McIntyre is still not re-signed with WWE, he said this to Hindustan Times about his current situation. "I mean, I keep reading the internet myself. I just saw something earlier. The internet keeps talking about my future, I guess. Well, my focus is on the here and now, like I don't look to the future. I don't look to the past, I look to the present. And my job right now is just making sure we give everybody in Hyderabad the best show possible, and I'll continue to give the best performance I can give at every show, and I can see I don't plan to be anywhere else. else. That's as much as I can give. With WWE putting on the Superstar Spectacle event in India, many fans are upset that this will not be on the air, as many replied to WWE promoting the event on social media. Will it broadcast? At least say no if not. If Sony made a live telecast, then great for us, but this is just house show, so no live. But we get all updates from ringside in our community. Is there a live telecast on Live? It's so heartbreaking that John Cena is in India, and I'm not in Hyderabad. Literally crying right now. Can we watch in the States? And when is the Ask Mommy video coming? During the previously mentioned Superstar Spectacle event, CM Punk chants would break out when a match was going on. Here's the video. At that same event, WWE Hall of Famer the Great Khali would make an appearance as ringside news revealed that the star claims he has one more match left in him, as it remains to be seen when he will step back between the ropes. Recalling his experiences with racism during his time in WWE, Devon Dudley told Good Karma Wrestling, "I remember coming into certain locker rooms and there were certain people that didn't care if it got out how they were treating you. There was a prominent figure in WWE, I should say that he was Office, that basically told me that he didn't like me because I was black. 2 occasions he told me. Bubba was there on one of them and Bubba was there on the second one along with Paul Heyman, Tommy Dreamer, and Spike. To this day, I have no respect nor do I like this individual. I'm not going to go and put him on blast right now, but I don't care for him, so I just stay away from him. I just know that we have come a long way. I'm not going to sit here and cry over something that might have happened 10 years ago. I just move on and make the best of it. Look at my career. I have nothing to be sad about. I have nothing to have any remorse about it. Bubba and I have become the greatest tag team of our era." Touching on the status of LA Knight following reports of WWE attempting to get him to sign a long-term deal, the Wrestling Observer newsletter revealed that LA Knight is expected to get a mega push going forward, given that the ratings for his segments and his merchandise sales have both been very strong. The crowd reaction alone would help you, but in many cases, if WWE thinks it's a fad and there aren't economic indications, they only take crowd reactions to a certain level. But with Knight, the success is across the board. PW Insider also reported the company is renegotiating his deal for as long as another 5 years. Talking about CM Punk naming Colt Cabana's mother during the AEW All Out 2022 media scrum, Booker T remarked on his Hall of Fame podcast, "I would almost be willing to say that Punk has met Cabana's mother, Coke and a smile. Yes, they may have broken bread. He may have sat in the house and made small talk, whatever. You know what I mean? Right. So to have a problem with Cabana and bringing his mom up by name, it's a no-no. It just goes to show you that's a classless move. It was just a low blow. I mean, because the thing is, Punk, he's a rich guy. He's got a lot of money and got money. Cabana is a guy who's there again. He may have been living with his mom. He's not a guy that's a rich guy. He hasn't had the breaks that Punk has had in his business. He hasn't, you know what I mean? So to belittle him and try throwing it in his face, just go. It was a classless move. And people can say what they want, but you aren't going to hear me talking about somebody's mama, especially if I met him. For details on the contracts that CM Punk had with AEW, the Wrestling Observer newsletter noted, the belief was that Punk had 2 contracts, one being a pro wrestling contract and another being an employee contract. Was that it was a way for the company to cover full insurance, although nobody officially confirmed that or what his job title entailed, but he was working directly with Khan on the creative facets of the Collision show. When asked if there would be a non-compete on Punk, he said he wouldn't comment. For what it's worth, it is standard in a WWE contract that if a party is terminated for just cause, that they have a 1-year non-compete. My belief is that if such a thing was challenged in court, it would be difficult to uphold for that long of a period of time unless the company would continue paying the person, particularly when you are talking about an independent contractor. Talk about the supposed meeting that was going to take place in AEW between the Elite and CM Punk. The Wrestling Observer newsletter said, "It is true that people in the company wanted Punk and the Young Bucks to meet, but it was never asked because of the belief it would be turned down by the Young Bucks." When it comes to the backstage morale in AEW following CM Punk's firing from the company, the Wrestling Observer newsletter said, "At least 3 others that we know of were very upset by things. While not saying anything publicly, obviously Brody King would have been one of his biggest supporters since he was so frustrated in London when the backstage incident with Jack Perry went down." Many others talked about the backstage atmosphere as if a dark cloud had been lifted over their heads and how much fun it was on the weekend shows. But there is the dichotomy of a fun backstage and increased morale, and the company doing business in this case. Live advances for tickets were generally lower even for the Collision shows where Punk was advertised. In theory, Saturday night shows should draw more than Wednesday as far as ticket sales, and those shows had been doing mixed numbers, but most cities going forward were not strong. And this was your pro wrestling news update. I hope you're all having a great day. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see y'all later.